we should replace fast fixes with slow satisfaction. But another way you were explaining it to me is basically going for easy dopamine hits or like quick fixes, and it ends up like making your life shitty, essentially. Sometimes I think a short term, like I remember, not that my dad is anyone to learn habits from at all, but I remember when I was like, I had the business failure, as I talk about in the biographical section of the ENFP calling. And I went through this business failure and bankruptcy in my 20s. And during that time, I remember my dad gave me a gift certificate to the liquor store. And I thought about it a lot, right? And what I concluded is like, if you're going through a temporary tough time, like some things that physically make you feel better and aren't good, eating a tub of ice cream, drinking a few too many beers, etc., are not the worst thing in the world. That sometimes the physical relief can be positive for us, like being in that state of just terrible feelings. Like you come home and your, boyfriend is having an orgy with his two aunts, and you're like, okay, like, yeah, I really took that to a next level there. Thank you, everyone. That's what you tune into the ENFP show for. So, like, if you're in like a really bad state, sometimes certain physical things can be okay. Now, is it better to sauna, run, yoga, etc., instead of the tub of ice cream? Probably. Are you going to make that choice in one of the worst times of your life? Probably not. So for me, the big line is, are you eating that ice cream or drinking that beer because you're upset about life circumstances that are semi-permanent, or you're not making an effort to change? So there's like one thing of like through a grieving process, like my business just failed. This sucks. I'm super stressed, right? Have a few more drinks than normal. It's another thing if you're like, this job I've been at for 10 years, I need to like eat a tub of ice cream every day and drink, a bottle of vodka to like get through it. And so I became weirdly aware of that at, I don't know how old I was, like 26-ish, 27, whenever that happened. Even then I was thinking, when I come through this, I'm going to do like, 3 months no drinking or take a year off or do something, right? Like to kind of make sure there's no legacy bad habits from whatever that happens to be. But the world we're set up in now is like making very, very socially acceptable dopamine hits to keep everyone kind of numb and distracted. What do you find among people? What are the easy dopamine hits? I mean, I'm using drinking a bottle of vodka. I'm aging myself because I know you Zoomers don't drink. Like, what is although Mila's definitely gotta become a fan of the cocktails recently. But what are like the habits you see among your friends in that are the distractions?
Well, the easiest one is definitely going on social media, especially when it's a tough conversation you're gonna have, or like you're waiting for an answer and it's somewhat important thing for you, like you send an email, the risky one, and it's like you have this anxiety about what the response is gonna be. The thing that is happening, people are not looking into the content, they just spend time scrolling, not getting into the information that is passed there. The information is shitty anyways, but the process is kind of calming down, and then your brain is numb and you kind of forget the state that you were in for a while.
Which the idea of numbing yourself after a tough day is not new. It was the tavern before, it was TV shows, in the 70s, 80s, 90s. The real danger is the level of addictiveness, but also that the smartphone then goes with you, right? So 20 years ago, you go to your job and you come home and you're a bit stressed and you like sit down, you might have a beer, you watch Seinfeld or something, and then you have dinner, you go to bed, whatever it is. But like at work, you're not like pulling up a Seinfeld, like you didn't carry your old TV with you on your back to work. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to watch Seinfeld. Like, and it was like, work hard, be stressed, have a little release after, go back. And still, I would say that's not ideal, right? That was not like, you shouldn't have to drink every day after your job. But even then, it was less dangerous than, oh, you have your like TV in your pocket and your alcohol in your pocket and your heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of that is now in a phone, right? Like not
Yeah.
actually you have your heroin in your pocket, but you have your phone has replaced it, but it's with you everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest problem there is that we're kind of not used to go through the tough emotions, which are obviously very much normal. It's like being in this drowning in this sadness kind of feeling, and it's quite normal to reach out for the rope that is thrown to you, whether it's phone or something else. But it's not always the best option, because sometimes it's better to learn how to swim, maybe,
Yeah.
because it's
Well
it's
said.
not
Well
the
said. Yeah.
it's not the worst skill. I mean, to go through the emotions you experience, because it's also normal to be down or whatever. And with a lot of people, like with my colleagues in the university, we're discussing this as well, that sometimes it's very uncomfortable just sitting in a silence without doing anything, because we're so unused, trained, and unexperienced with actually facing the emotions that been kind of suppressed and numbed through all of those, I don't know, years maybe even, of the phone usage in
And
those
I mean,
critical moments.
it was, I just saw an email from the psychologist I follow about a bunch of data coming out of basically people born from 1995 onwards, when like they would have been growing up as smartphones became a thing, and just how like
Mm,
everything is messed. Like, and even like getting driver's licenses, starting drinking alcohol, like, which isn't always good with youth, but in some ways it is a good measure. Like in North America, 'cause it's kind of part of like socializing and rebelling,
yeah.
and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like you go out and you actually party and you meet other people and you do stupid stuff, but that's kind of part of the transition. Um, and so that was already going to happen. And then COVID, like the number one way people, mammals, all mammals actually de-stress is to be around other mammals. Like you, like literally you just want to be
Yeah.
around. So that what you see mostly now just from TV shows, that idea of like, you ring on your friend's door, like, hey man, I had a bad day, or like I'm fighting with Sheila, like, can we hang out? Like that used to be in the social fabric. And the even for everyone, it's not as much, but like, especially if you're like going through those tough times during COVID, all you had is social media, like 2 years of that becoming a habit. It's like not ideal. I mean, every generation there's divides, right? Of like, um, the younger generation thinks the older generation is like backwards or this, and the older thinks the younger generation is like lazy and snowflakes.
Yeah.
Like that's almost like consistent. I think if I was a Zoomer or whatever, I don't know if there's another generation, whatever the next one is called, but they're probably too young now. Definitely getting comfortable with discomfort. I don't think anyone ever went to a nightclub, or like in Europe. In Europe, nightclubs are brothels. They call them discos, right? It's like a confusing thing. In Canada, it's a nightclub. Like you go to dance and, party
Uh-huh.
and whatever, right? I don't think anyone at 19 goes to a nightclub and is like comfortable. You're like, fuck, this is so awkward. This is weird. I'm going to get rejected when I talk to the girl. Like,
Yeah.
but you do because your friends do, and you kind of have to. And then you're like, get used to it. And then, it becomes a second home for some of us. And I mean, really, like to me, to the point where like I went to this club. It was actually more like an outdoor party, but like half club in Rwanda. I'm like the only white guy of 400 people. It's in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like comfortable like being in that environment, because it's over time you get used to things, right?
Yeah.
Um and also Rwandans are super nice. It was like, it's just like fun anyhow. But it is like, I would say, learning to be uncomfortable, and that, yeah, you learn how to do things, and that like, okay, it might suck at first, but like through that, like a lot of evolution, and you even see like this in Buddhism and things. It's like
Mm-hmm.
through your suffering, you learn and you evolve and you go through that.
Yeah.
And Like, one of the best things that ever happened to me was that period of bankruptcy. I've quoted this before. My mom said to me at some point, she was like, "Thank God you were becoming a real arrogant shit." Like, that was her, like, I'm glad you went through that. And yeah, so thank you everybody for watching the show. I would love to hear in the comments your own experience with any of these instincts leading you astray. I want to hear your stories, your thoughts, any advice you have for your fellow ENFPs or any other personality type for that matter. Catch you in the next episode soon.